Well, I guess center back watch volume 2. How'd this performance go?
Yeah, obviously, a couple mistakes, and you learn from it and you move on, and you don't repeat those same mistakes again.
How much did the loss that you had that way on your performance?
I don't know.
What does it say about your character? Obviously, as a captain of this team, you really care about this group, that after you got even some devastating news, you still went out there, put on a tough face, and champed through.
Yeah, I think that's, it is, circumstances are what they are, and, I think that, my family would have wanted me to play. If I was going down, I'd want them to continue on with what they were doing, and at the appropriate time, take care of business.
You had mentioned that, of course, that even in your familiar position, every now and then you would make an error.
Yeah.
Any player would. Did this game feel in any way related to the new position, or was it just one of those games?
Yeah, I think one of those games, and like I said before, when you make mistakes at center back, it's that's it. It's pretty much game over. So, that same mistake in midfield is dealt with, and you move forward in the game. But the first one caught in between, a rock and a hard place. Staying with a man in the box is difficult. If I stay with him and he makes a near post run, maybe he gets another clear header on goal and he beats me as soon as I turn my head. But in that position, I thought I had a good space in between, where I was and where the defender was. I thought I could win the header. Knew that he was there. Second one, uncharacteristic, just flat out, my fault. That'll never happen again. It's been replaying in my mind for 4 days straight. Third one, I probably step up too high, and then I slip, and he's in. So, 3 things that I don't need to watch the tape. I know exactly what happened. I have the own tape in my mind, and when you come out to practice, you recognize those situations and make sure that they don't happen again.
Right. You've had some experience playing against some Mexican sides. What can fans expect in terms of style of play between MLS and?
It's a very good team right now. They're used to playing on turf, so most Mexican teams that come here don't do well on turf. We usually get the better of those teams. This is a team that plays on turf every single game, for their home games, and I'm sure that they train, same schedule like we do. So expect to see a team that is used to the conditions. And I'm sure it won't be their first choice guys, but it doesn't matter. Very technical, very savvy. Each team down there seems to have a very specific way in how they play, and each player that they plug in is a duplicate of what the other player is. They're grooming guys to following guys' footsteps there. So in that respect, I think it's a little bit different. But I think that we can expect a very fast-paced game and probably a pro Tijuana crowd. That's what we hope not to see, right?
You had mentioned your hopes with the change for positional stability. If they saw you, maybe if they needed a solution with the Mears injury, would you be open to sliding out?
I mean, that always pops into your mind, of course, and ultimately I want to do what's best for the team. So, and we've talked about it, that mistakes, we talked about it last year. Mistakes will be made, but we'll continue to forge on, and it's about learning the position, and I guess it's good that it's out of the system early in the season. But obviously, if I'm a coach and those are consistent mistakes that are happening, you have to remove the player. So I know that as well as any other person, player thing does. And maybe there's a better position for me after all, but time will tell.
Back to the friendly, can you talk about what the team can get out of playing a Liga MX side?
Yeah, I think we find ourselves in a good position moving forward in Champions League. It'll most likely we'll face one of these teams at some point in the season. And of course we look to advance out of the tournament, so most likely it will be a Mexican team in that next round, which will come at this point in the season next year. So I think that's probably the goal here. Playing an opponent that we'll be familiar with next year, and of course at the end of this year.
And then can you just talk about the U.S.-Mexico rivalry and possibly how that carries over to club teams?
Yeah, there'll always be that border rivalry. I think it's just ingrained in us at this point. It'll be a chippy game, and that's, we'll move forward. But at the same time, we've got to be smart and realize that we've got a game 4 days afterwards against the best team in the league. So we've got to be smart about that.